All right, so in this episode of Talking to Myself, I'm going to be talking about embracing pain to achieve growth. So, my goal here is to give you a different perspective on pain, especially for those that maybe are going through some sort of pain or know someone that is, and to help you realize that pain is there for a specific purpose. So, that's the goal for this. I've got my notes below, so if you see me looking down, that is why. But basically, I'm going to go through three main points that I think are at least relevant to this topic, and then I'll do a little summary at the end, and you can go off and have a new perspective on pain, hopefully. All right. So, first and foremost, I'll give a little overview of pain anyway. When I say pain, pain can be mental or physical as well, but I guess we all experience pain differently. So, that kind of brings me on to the first main point, which is pain is perception. Now, as I said, what's pain for one person may not be painful for another. Let's use an example of an elite athlete. An elite athlete is training, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a day, intense, maybe lifting really heavy weights, um, running marathons or whatever, depending on the type of training they're doing, the athlete that they are. But pain for them is different to the average person. The average person may be going to the gym 30 minutes a day, 40 minutes a day, once a week, once every few weeks, doing lights, maybe walking on a treadmill, running on a treadmill very lightly. So pain for them, maybe running 40 minutes on the treadmill is painful at a light pace. But for an elite athlete, that is not painful at all. So that's like the first obvious, like most obvious example I could think of. Um, and really, it's all about how the body is, or the body or the mind, what it's conditioned to as well. Because if you're used to that level of intensity, you're not going to feel it as much, because it's like training a muscle, isn't it? The more you train that muscle, the bigger it grows, the more you're used to it. So pain is perception, and I thought I would say a lot more about it than that, but right now I can't think of much else to say besides, really, it's just what you're used to, it's what you've been trained to, what you've been conditioned to. So let's move on to point two. Pain is real, fear is not. Now, pain itself is a short experience, a short physical experience that hurts. I guess it can be emotional as well. You might feel like someone says, I've got a heartache. They got broken up with someone. I feel a burn in my chest, for example. I guess it still manifests physically, but it's only actually a split second. It's actually the mental projection, the fear, that is the illusion. So if you were doing let's say a public speech, you're about to do a public speech. That is actually one of the most feared things besides death. That is like up there with the most feared things that people have. So often the pain, it's not actually pain what you're experiencing when you're thinking about the public speech. You're thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do? What if I mess my lines up? What if they laugh at me? All this kind of stuff. That is fear. So they say fear is false evidence appearing real. That is the fear that's coming in. It's not real. It's actually not causing any pain, I guess. What is actually the pain? It may be that split second you experience that tightness in your chest. But because we have that fear, that's what's playing on the tape, so to speak. So that is, playing again and again and again in your head. But really, the pain was only initial. It was maybe that tightness in your chest, which, if you addressed it there and then, you addressed that tightness in the chest, the heavy breathing or sweaty palms, whatever it is, and you breathed into it, you relaxed into it, and you got in the underlying cause of it, the pain is gone. So really, you're just experiencing the same pain continuously, because your mind keeps bringing it up. So it's all a mental projection. And really, it's like I say, it's only temporary, but we've not learned how to deal with it. So point three is pain is temporary, growth is permanent. Great example again, going back to the athletes. I love the athletes and stuff like that. When these athletes are training, let's say you're doing an intense workout that's 10, 20 minutes long, just intense interval training, whatever it is, those 10, 20 minutes is when you're feeling the suffering. But that, I know there's a CrossFit athlete called Matt Fraser. He's like, whenever I'm doing the workout, I know however long the workout is, to, like I said, 10, 20 minutes, I'm going to be nearly thrown up, nearly passing out. But he said 5 minutes after that, I'm breathing normal, everything's fine, and I know I've survived. But he's doing that, one, to condition his body and his training. So then he's going for that bigger goal, the bigger goal of winning the competition for him, becoming the greatest of all time for him. So when you think of it as well from a bigger perspective as well, like you're going through that pain to achieve that bigger purpose. Because a lot of us are going through life, we don't really have a bigger purpose in mind. We're just living our day-to-day lives, just trying to get through, often addicted to certain things, often just living for the small wins, I'll finish my work so I can go have a beer or something, or a takeaway at the end of my day. There's nothing wrong with that. But if that is the only thing that you're focusing on in your life, and you're not focusing on the bigger purpose, you're just only focusing on pleasure and not pain. You're like pushing one away and you only want the other. But if you're pushing one, life naturally pushes back against you. So the more you resist facing up to pain or experiencing pain, the more likely something is going to find you, because it's part of life. This is the nature of reality. Where there's pain, there's pleasure. It's opposites, duality. So you can't have one without the other. But the issue is, when I go back to the title of this topic, embracing pain, it doesn't mean, now, one, actually, there's two things I could say about that. One, some people actively seek pain, such as these elite athletes, such as people that do intense, challenging things early on in their day, in their life. A lot of high performers, business people, elite athletes, whatever it is, they actively seek out these challenges, which could be determined as pain. But one, they don't see it as pain because they're seeing it as a challenge to get them better, to get to the point where they want to go. And there's a saying or a book or something, I don't know what it is, called Eat That Frog. And it's saying, do the one challenging thing early on in your day, because this sets you up for the rest of the day. If you've done a challenging thing first thing in the morning, everything else becomes a breeze. If you didn't want to have a workout first thing in the morning, but you got up and you had a workout, and that was the most challenging part of your day, well, the stuff that you enjoy doing becomes easy after that. So I guess in a way is, some of us, we need to actively seek out a bit of discomfort in our day. It could be anything for anyone. It doesn't have to be trained like an elite athlete. It could just be something as simple as setting your alarm early in the morning, 6 a.m., and not snoozing the button, getting up straight away and, doing your morning routine, brush your teeth, doing a stretch, whatever. Like, you do it for where you're at each stage of your journey. If getting up early is a struggle for you, that could be the challenging thing of your day, and then build on that, make that consistent. Then you could do something else. It could be wake up early, and then you add going for a walk or a light bit of exercise in the morning. So you can build it up each time. But the point is, if you're not conditioned, your body and mind's not conditioned to overcome certain obstacles, certain challenges, certain pains, it's almost like there's a wider threshold for pain. So you're only going to be seeking pleasure. But like, it's hard to describe, and it makes sense in my head. But imagine if, like, this is what you describe as pain, yeah, and this is pleasure for you. No, actually, that doesn't even make sense. I'm chatting shit. It makes sense in my head, but I couldn't articulate what I was trying to say. So maybe this was a sign that the universe was like, don't say no more. Maybe end it there for this. So, in summary, pain is perception. It all depends on how you view it and how you've been conditioned. Pain is real, fear is not. You feel pain physically in the body, but 9 times out of 10, you're experiencing fear, which is a projection of the mind. Number 3, pain is temporary, growth is permanent. So have that higher purpose. Know that you're going through temporary pain to achieve that bigger goal, and you'll be more conditioned to it when it comes to it. So I guess to summarize, focus on that bigger purpose and use pain to get to that bigger purpose. Okay. So I want to leave you guys with a couple of, I guess, points to reflect on. So the first thing, and if anyone that you know is going through pain, or you yourself going through some sort of pain, whether it's physical, mental, you've lost a family member, you've got a challenging work environment, whatever, just ask yourself firstly, how have you been perceiving that pain in your life? Is it actually painful, or is it just your mind telling you it's painful? Like, for example, you may be about to lose your job, but your mind's telling you, if I lose my job, I'm going to lose my house, I'm going to lose my family, I'm going to lose my kids, not going to be able to pay anything. But right now, is that actually what's going on, or is that what's going on in your mind? So maybe right now you're not actually experiencing pain, you're just predicting pain that could happen in the future. So reflect on how you've been perceiving pain. Ask yourself, what's it trying to teach me? Because pain is our greatest lesson that we can learn from if we look at it in that way of saying, what's it trying to teach me, rather than, oh, I can't believe this is happening to me. So rather than being the victim, try and look at it from the point of view like, what's it going to teach me? What's the solution to this? How can I learn from this? How can I build up my resilience from this pain? And lastly, leading on from that previous point, how can I grow through it? So if you know what it's trying to teach you, how can I overcome this? So if it were to happen again, I'm well equipped to dealing with it. And also I can maybe prevent it from happening again because I've learned from it. And maybe my mindset changes, my perspective changes. Physically, I'm better and stronger. And now I'm working towards that purpose that life, universe, God wants from me. So that's all. To stop myself rambling, I'm going to say, if you know anyone that's going through it, it may help them, share this video with them, reflect on those questions, and I hope it helps. See you in the next one.